Have you ever wondered what really happens after we die? For centuries, the Tibetan Book of the Dead has guided souls through the mysterious in-between states of death and rebirth. If you don't understand these teachings, you might miss the chance to break free from the cycle of reincarnation. By the end of this video, you'll know how to apply this profound wisdom, not just for the afterlife, but to unlock peace and purpose in the life you're living today. Imagine for a moment standing on the edge of a great unknown, a place that is neither here nor there, but somewhere in between, a space of possibility, transformation, and awakening. This is the world of the bardos, the transitional states described in the Tibetan Book of the Dead. Bardos are not just moments of transition after death. They are woven into the fabric of our very existence. The word bardo means in-between state, and it represents any moment where one phase ends and another begins. This isn't just about physical death, but also about those moments of change and uncertainty we all face, when the familiar fades and the future is still unclear. The Tibetan Book of the Dead teaches us that these in-between spaces are not to be feared, but embraced, for they hold the key to liberation and enlightenment. The concept of bardos is deeply rooted in Tibetan Buddhism. Traditionally, there are 6 bardos: the bardo of life, the bardo of meditation, the bardo of dreams, the bardo of dying, the bardo of after-death visions, and the bardo of rebirth. Each offers unique opportunities for growth, understanding, and, ultimately, freedom from the cycle of samsara, the endless loop of birth, death, and rebirth. But today, we're focusing on the 3 bardos that directly relate to the journey through death and the afterlife. These are the Chikai Bardo, the Chonyid Bardo, and the Sidpa Bardo. They form the spiritual roadmap laid out in the Tibetan Book of the Dead, guiding consciousness through the transition from death to rebirth. Let's begin with the Chikai Bardo. This is the moment of death itself. When the physical body ceases to function, the consciousness begins its journey. Here, one encounters the clear light, a radiant, boundless awareness that is said to reflect the true nature of reality. It is a moment of profound opportunity, but also a great challenge. Recognizing the clear light and merging with it can lead to immediate liberation. However, without preparation, many may fail to recognize this moment and be swept into confusion. Next comes the Chonyid Bardo, the state of visions and deities. This phase is filled with vivid imagery, peaceful and wrathful deities, dazzling lights, and powerful sounds. These manifestations are not external forces, but reflections of our own mind, shaped by our actions, emotions, and karma. The Tibetan Book of the Dead teaches that if we recognize these visions as projections of our own mind, we can transcend fear and move closer to liberation. But if we mistake them for external threats or become overwhelmed by their intensity, we remain trapped in the cycle of samsara. Finally, there is the Sidpa Bardo, the transition to rebirth. Here, the consciousness seeks a new physical form. This is a critical phase where karmic patterns come into play, influencing the circumstances of the next life. The Tibetan teachings emphasize the importance of awareness in this stage, as it can shape not only the next rebirth, but also the opportunity for spiritual progress. So, why are the bardos so important? Because they are moments of immense potential. Each bardo offers a doorway to liberation, a chance to break free from the cycle of suffering and awaken to the truth of existence. However, this potential can only be realized with awareness. Mindfulness is the key. The Tibetan Book of the Dead urges us to cultivate presence and clarity in life so that we are prepared for these transitions. It's not just about what happens after death. It's about how we live now. Every moment of change, every challenge, and every uncertainty is an opportunity to practice, to grow, and to prepare for the ultimate transitions that await us all. By developing awareness, we can navigate the bardos with courage and wisdom. Instead of being swept away by fear or confusion, we can embrace these moments as opportunities for transformation. And in doing so, we not only prepare for death, but also enrich the life we are living right now. The journey through the bardos is not just a Buddhist teaching, it's a universal truth. We all face transitions, whether it's the loss of a loved one, a major life change, or the ultimate transition of death. The Tibetan Book of the Dead offers timeless wisdom to help us navigate these moments with grace and understanding. So, as we delve deeper into this profound text, let's remember, the bardos are not just about what happens after we die. They are about how we live, how we grow, and how we awaken to the boundless potential within us. The journey through the bardos is the journey of life itself, a journey of transformation, liberation, and ultimately, enlightenment. Stay with me as we explore the next chapters of this ancient guide, uncovering its wisdom and applying its teachings to our own lives. Together, we'll discover how the Tibetan Book of the Dead can illuminate our path in this life and beyond. Close your eyes for a moment and think about the essence of who you are. Is it your body, your thoughts, your emotions? Or is there something deeper, something beyond the surface? The Tibetan Book of the Dead invites us to explore this profound question as it delves into the nature of consciousness itself. It reveals that consciousness is not bound by the physical body. It is expansive, luminous, and eternal. But what does this mean? And why is understanding consciousness so crucial for our spiritual journey? Imagine standing in front of a mirror. The reflections you see are not the mirror itself. They are projections of light and form. Similarly, the Tibetan teachings explain that the experiences we encounter during the bardos are reflections of our own minds. These projections, whether peaceful or terrifying, are shaped by our actions, emotions, and karma. In the bardos, the mind becomes both the creator and the observer. It projects dazzling visions, powerful sounds, and intense sensations. Without preparation, these projections can overwhelm us, leading to fear and confusion. But with clarity and awareness, we can recognize them for what they truly are, manifestations of our own consciousness. This understanding is a profound shift. It shows us that the mind holds the key to liberation. By transforming the way we perceive these projections, we can transcend the illusions that bind us and awaken to our true nature. One of the most profound teachings in the Tibetan Book of the Dead is the concept of the clear light of reality. At the moment of death, every individual is said to encounter this luminous light. It is pure, boundless, and all-encompassing. It is not something external, but the very essence of our being. The clear light represents the ultimate truth. It is the unchanging reality that lies beyond the fluctuations of thought and emotion. For those who can recognize and merge with it, liberation is immediate. This moment is described as the ultimate opportunity for enlightenment. But here's the challenge. The clear light can be fleeting. Without training or preparation, many fail to recognize it. The Tibetan teachings emphasize the importance of meditative practice in life. By becoming familiar with states of clarity and presence, we increase our chances of recognizing the clear light when it appears. Death is often accompanied by fear and uncertainty. The unknown looms large, and the ego clings desperately to what it knows. This fear can cloud our perception, making it difficult to navigate the bardos. But the Tibetan Book of the Dead offers tools to overcome this fear. It reminds us that the experiences in the bardos are not external threats. They are reflections of our own minds, and we have the power to transform our relationship with them. One powerful technique is mindfulness. By cultivating presence in our daily lives, we learn to face uncertainty with grace. When fear arises, we can observe it without becoming entangled in it. This practice strengthens our ability to remain calm and centered, even in the face of the unknown. Another technique is guided visualization. Through meditative exercises, we can familiarize ourselves with the visions and sensations described in the bardos. This preparation helps us recognize these experiences when they arise, reducing the likelihood of being overwhelmed. Imagine someone you love deeply has just passed from this life. In that fragile moment, when the veil between this world and the next is thinnest, there exists an extraordinary opportunity. The Tibetan Book of the Dead, or the Bardo Thodol, offers a sacred guide to help the departed soul navigate this profound transition. It's a journey filled with beauty, challenge, and immense potential for liberation. In this chapter, we will explore how the living can assist those who have departed, ensuring their passage is one of peace, clarity, and spiritual freedom. At the heart of the Bardo Thodol is the practice of reading its teachings aloud to the deceased. This isn't just a ritual, it is an act of love and compassion. The text serves as a roadmap for the soul, providing clear instructions for navigating the bardos, the intermediate states between death and rebirth. Imagine being lost in a foreign land, surrounded by unfamiliar sights and sounds. Now, imagine someone offering you a detailed map, a guiding voice to help you find your way. This is what the Bardo Thodol offers to the departed. The voice of the reader becomes a lifeline, a gentle reminder that the experiences unfolding are not external threats, but projections of the mind. By hearing these instructions, the soul is encouraged to recognize the luminous, clear light of reality and embrace it. Even if liberation isn't achieved in that moment, the guidance can help the soul navigate the visions of peaceful and wrathful deities, avoid fear, and move closer to spiritual awakening. Mantras are another powerful tool in guiding the departed soul. These sacred syllables are much more than words. They are vibrational keys that resonate with the deeper layers of consciousness. Chanting mantras creates an environment of peace and protection, shielding the departed from confusion and fear. One of the most commonly used mantras is Om Mani Padme Hum, the mantra of compassion. Its sound carries the essence of unconditional love and universal wisdom. By chanting this mantra, the living can send waves of compassion and light to the departed, creating a bridge between worlds. Another potent practice is reciting the Phowa mantra. This mantra facilitates the transference of consciousness to a pure land, a realm of higher spiritual learning and peace. It is said that with focused intention and deep faith, the Phowa mantra can guide the soul to a state beyond suffering. In Tibetan tradition, it is believed that spiritual beings and energies are always present, ready to assist those in need. By invoking these divine forces, the living can call upon a profound source of guidance and protection for the departed soul. Lamas and spiritual practitioners often lead prayers and rituals, invoking the blessings of enlightened beings like Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva of compassion. Families and communities can participate in these ceremonies, creating a collective field of love and intention that supports the soul's journey. This communal effort is a reminder that death is not an isolated experience. It is a shared event that connects us all. By coming together in prayer and practice, We honor the departed and reinforce the bonds of love that transcend physical existence. For the departed soul, the bardos can be a place of wonder and possibility, but also of confusion and fear. The visions that arise, peaceful deities, wrathful figures, dazzling lights, can be overwhelming. Without preparation, the soul may mistake these manifestations for external threats, becoming trapped in cycles of fear. This is where the living can play a crucial role. By calmly and clearly reciting the teachings of the Bardo Thodol, they remind the departed that these visions are projections of their own mind. The peaceful deities represent the enlightened qualities within. The wrathful ones are nothing more than distorted reflections of unprocessed emotions and karma. The key is recognition. When the soul recognizes these manifestations as part of itself, fear dissolves, and a deeper truth is revealed: the boundless, luminous nature of consciousness. It's not just spiritual practitioners who can help guide the departed soul. Families and loved ones have a unique role to play. By creating an environment of peace, they can support the soul's transition. Lighting candles, offering flowers, and maintaining a calm, reverent atmosphere can make a profound difference. Avoiding loud or chaotic environments allows the soul to focus on the teachings and the journey ahead. Remember, the soul is deeply sensitive during this time, and even subtle acts of love and intention can have a significant impact. The process of guiding a departed soul is not only a gift to them, but also a profound teaching for those left behind. It reminds us of the impermanence of life and the importance of preparing for our own journey through the bardos. By engaging in these practices, we cultivate awareness, compassion, and a deeper understanding of the nature of existence. Every act of guidance, every mantra chanted, and every prayer offered becomes a bridge, not just for the departed, but for our own hearts. It connects us to the eternal truth that love and awareness transcend all boundaries, including those of life and death. To guide a departed soul is to hold their hand as they step into the great unknown. It is to remind them of their inner light, their boundless potential, and the truth that they are never alone. The Tibetan Book of the Dead shows us that death is not an ending, but a continuation, a sacred journey toward liberation. And as we guide others, we are reminded of our own journey. We see that the path to liberation is not something we face alone. It is a shared experience woven with love, compassion, and the eternal light of consciousness. In helping others cross the threshold, we prepare ourselves for the ultimate journey of the soul, the journey back to the essence of who we truly are. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine standing in a vast, luminous space where the boundaries between fear and love, light and darkness dissolve. You are no longer bound by the physical world. Instead, you find yourself face to face with radiant beings, some serene and compassionate, others fierce and terrifying. This is the realm of the deities, as described in the Tibetan Book of the Dead, and it is one of the most profound and transformative phases of the journey through the bardos. But these deities are not external gods or judges. They are aspects of your own mind, reflections of your inner world. In this chapter, we'll explore what it means to face these deities, why their appearance matters, and how recognizing their true nature can lead to liberation. The Tibetan Book of the Dead describes two primary types of deities encountered in the bardos: peaceful and wrathful. The peaceful deities are serene, radiant beings that exude love, wisdom, and compassion. They represent the enlightened qualities of our own minds. Think of them as a mirror reflecting your highest potential, your purest essence. Then, There are the wrathful deities. They are fierce, intense, and often frightening in appearance. With their wild gestures, fiery eyes, and thunderous voices, they seem to embody chaos and destruction. But their purpose is not to harm or punish. Instead, they represent the raw, unprocessed energies of the mind, our fears, attachments, and unresolved emotions. They appear not to scare us, but to awaken us. When we enter the bardos, our usual perceptions dissolve. The filters through which we see the world, our ego, our habits, our physical senses, fall away, leaving us face to face with the pure essence of our mind. The deities we encounter are projections of this essence. They are not separate from us, but manifestations of our own consciousness. The peaceful deities remind us of our innate wisdom and compassion. They show us what we can become if we let go of fear and embrace our true nature. The wrathful deities, on the other hand, challenge us to confront the parts of ourselves we'd rather avoid. They hold up a mirror to our anger, jealousy, and attachments, urging us to face these emotions and transform them. This encounter is not random. It is shaped by our karma, the actions and intentions we've cultivated in life. The more we've nurtured love, compassion, and awareness, the more easily we'll recognize the peaceful deities. The more we've held on to fear and attachment, the more prominently the wrathful deities will appear. But here's the profound truth. Both types of deities are opportunities for liberation. Both are doors to awakening. The key to navigating this phase of the bardos is recognition. When you encounter a peaceful deity, can you see it not as an external being, but as a reflection of your own enlightened mind? When you face a wrathful deity, can you look beyond its terrifying appearance and recognize it as a projection of your unprocessed fears and emotions? Recognition dissolves fear. It allows us to see the deities for what they truly are, expressions of our own consciousness. In that moment of recognition, the illusions that bind us, the illusions of separation, fear, and duality, begin to dissolve. We realize that the peaceful and wrathful deities are not opposites, but two sides of the same coin. They are both expressions of the same luminous truth. Non-duality is a core teaching of the Tibetan Book of the Dead. It reminds us that the distinctions we cling to in life, between good and bad, light and dark, self and other, are ultimately illusions. The peaceful and wrathful deities are not separate. They are different expressions of the same fundamental reality. By embracing non-duality, we transcend fear and open ourselves to the possibility of liberation. This is easier said than done. When faced with a wrathful deity, the instinct is to run, to fight, to resist. But the teachings urge us to do the opposite, to stay, to look deeply, and to recognize. The wrathful deities are not enemies. They are allies in disguise. They challenge us to confront our deepest fears, and in doing so, free ourselves from their grip. The lessons of the deities are not just for the moment of death. They are for life. The peaceful deities remind us of our potential for love, wisdom, and compassion. They inspire us to cultivate these qualities in our daily lives. The wrathful deities challenge us to confront our fears and attachments now, while we are still alive. They remind us that the path to liberation is not about avoiding discomfort, but about facing it with courage and clarity. By recognizing the deities as aspects of our own mind, we gain a profound understanding of ourselves. We see that the source of both our suffering and our liberation lies within us. We realize that we have the power to transform our fears into wisdom, our attachments into freedom, and our illusions into truth. To face the deities is to face ourselves. It is to confront the beauty and the terror of our own mind, to embrace both the light and the shadow within us. The Tibetan Book of the Dead shows us that this encounter is not something to fear, but something to welcome. It is a sacred opportunity to awaken to the truth of who we are. As you journey through life, remember this: the deities are always with you. They are the reflections of your mind, the teachers of your soul. By recognizing their true nature, you can transform fear into love, separation into unity, and illusion into liberation. And in doing so, you can prepare not just for the moment of death, but for the boundless possibilities of life. Imagine for a moment that your life is like a candle, its flame burning brightly, but inevitably drawing closer to the end of its wick. How often do we think about this truth, that one day the light we carry will return to the vast, infinite source? The Tibetan Book of the Dead reminds us that death is not an end, but a profound transition, a doorway into something far greater. And the best way to prepare for this journey is not at the moment it arrives, but in how we live each day leading up to it. In this chapter, we'll explore how the wisdom of Tibetan Buddhism helps us embrace the reality of impermanence and prepare our minds and hearts for the inevitable. This isn't about fear. It's about awakening to the preciousness of life, the power of presence, and the freedom that comes from living with intention. One of the most essential teachings in Tibetan Buddhism is the meditation on impermanence. It's a practice that invites us to reflect deeply on the transient nature of all things. From the cycles of the seasons to the fleeting moments of joy and sorrow, everything in life is in a state of constant change. Nothing stays the same, and nothing lasts forever. This might sound somber, but in truth, it is liberating. By recognizing impermanence, we can let go of our clinging and attachments. We see that the things we hold on to so tightly, our possessions, our fears, even our identities, are not permanent. They are like clouds in the sky, forming and dissolving, leaving behind the vast open space of awareness. Meditating on impermanence helps us cultivate gratitude for the present moment. It reminds us that every breath, every interaction, and every experience is a gift. By embracing this truth, we can live more fully, more authentically, and with greater compassion. Another powerful practice for preparing for death is phowa, the transference of consciousness. This meditation is designed to guide the mind at the moment of death, helping it transition to a state of liberation or to a pure realm of spiritual learning. In phowa, the practitioner visualizes their consciousness as a bright light or energy, rising up through the central channel of the body and exiting through the crown of the head. This light is then directed toward a specific destination, such as a pure land or the presence of an enlightened being. This practice strengthens the connection between the practitioner and the spiritual realms, creating a pathway for the mind to follow when the time comes. What makes phowa so transformative is its ability to dissolve fear. By rehearsing this process in meditation, we become familiar with the transition, reducing the uncertainty and anxiety that often accompany thoughts of death. It also reminds us that consciousness is not bound by the body. It is limitless, luminous, and capable of transcending physical boundaries. Living in alignment with Dharma, the teachings of truth, is one of the most profound ways to prepare for death. When we live ethically, with compassion and wisdom, we create the conditions for a peaceful mind and a clear heart. The Tibetan Book of the Dead emphasizes that the quality of our thoughts and actions in life directly influences our experience in death and beyond. This doesn't mean striving for perfection. It means cultivating habits of kindness, generosity, and mindfulness. It means making choices that reflect our highest values and treating ourselves and others with respect and care. By living in this way, we build a foundation of peace and integrity that will support us in the moments of transition. One of the greatest gifts of Tibetan teachings is their invitation to face death with awareness rather than avoidance. In many cultures, death is a taboo subject, something to be feared and ignored. But the Tibetan Book of the Dead encourages us to look directly at this reality, to understand it, and to prepare for it with open hearts and clear minds. By contemplating death, we strip away illusions and distractions. We realize what truly matters and what doesn't. We become more present, more grateful, and more courageous. And when the moment of death arrives, we meet it not as a stranger, but as a familiar friend, a natural part of the journey. The practices of preparing for death are not just about what happens at the end of life. They are about how we live each day. When we embrace impermanence, we cherish the people and moments that matter most. When we practice phawa, we deepen our connection to the spiritual dimensions of existence. And when we align with Dharma, we bring more love and meaning into the world. Every step we take to prepare for death is a step toward greater freedom in life. By releasing our fears and attachments, we make room for joy, creativity, and authenticity. We awaken to the truth that life is not a race to the finish line, but a dance of impermanence, beauty, and connection. As you listen to these teachings, I invite you to take a moment to reflect. What would change if you lived with the awareness that each moment is precious, that each breath is a gift? How would you love, create, and connect differently if you knew that life's impermanence is not something to fear, but something to celebrate? The Tibetan Book of the Dead reminds us that preparing for death is not a morbid task. It is an act of awakening. It is a way to honor the sacredness of life and to step into the infinite potential of who we truly are. So, let us prepare, not with dread, but with courage, gratitude, and love. For in preparing for death, we learn to live more fully than ever before. Imagine yourself adrift in a vast and mysterious realm, one where the boundaries of your former existence dissolve, and the pull of a new life begins to take shape. This is the Sidpa Bardo, the phase described in the Tibetan Book of the Dead as the realm of becoming, a critical juncture where the consciousness prepares for rebirth. In this chapter, we will explore how the Sidpa Bardo guides the journey toward a new incarnation, and how awareness during this phase can transform your path through samsara, the endless cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. The Sidpa Bardo is often described as a liminal space, a place between worlds. Here, the consciousness, or mind stream, is no longer tethered to the body, but not yet anchored in a new form. It is a realm of transition, where karmic imprints and desires rise to the surface, shaping the conditions for the next life. In this bardo, the soul experiences a magnetic pull toward rebirth, driven by the energies of karma. The Tibetan teachings describe how, during this phase, visions of potential worlds and beings appear. These visions reflect the vibrational frequency of the consciousness, influenced by past actions, thoughts, and intentions. If the mind is clouded by fear, attachment, or ignorance, it may be drawn to a lower vibrational state. But if clarity, compassion, and wisdom are cultivated, the soul can gravitate toward a more favorable rebirth or even liberation. Understanding this process is vital. It reminds us that the choices we make in life ripple through eternity. The seeds we plant through our actions, thoughts, and intentions determine the soil in which our next existence takes root. The ultimate goal of Tibetan Buddhism is not simply a favorable rebirth, but liberation from the cycle of samsara altogether. Liberation, or enlightenment, represents the transcendence of the Sidpa Bardo. It is the realization that the self is not separate, but interconnected with all existence, a dissolution of the illusion of duality. Yet, achieving liberation in the Sidpa Bardo is no easy feat. The consciousness at this stage is highly vulnerable and reactive, swayed by karmic forces and habitual patterns. This is why preparation during life is so important. By cultivating mindfulness, compassion, and detachment, we train the mind to recognize these forces and respond with wisdom rather than reflexes. One of the most profound teachings of the Sidpa Bardo is its emphasis on illusion. The visions and experiences encountered during this phase are not external realities, but projections of the mind. These projections can be enticing or frightening, pulling the soul toward attachment or aversion. The Tibetan Book of the Dead describes how beings in the Sidpa Bardo may see potential parents or hear the sounds of the womb calling to them. These experiences trigger deeply ingrained desires and attachments, drawing the consciousness into a new existence. The challenge is to recognize these phenomena as illusions, as constructs of the mind, rather than ultimate truths. Recognition is the key to freedom. When the soul realizes that these projections are not real, it can transcend the pull of karmic forces and choose a path aligned with liberation. This requires immense clarity and awareness, cultivated through practices like meditation and mindfulness. The Tibetan teachings provide practical tools for navigating the Sidpa Bardo with grace and wisdom. One of the most important is the practice of detachment. By letting go of attachments and aversions, the soul becomes less reactive and more centered. This allows for greater discernment and choice in the face of karmic forces. Mantras and prayers are another powerful tool. Reciting sacred sounds or phrases can create a protective field around the consciousness, shielding it from confusion and fear. Mantras like Om Mani Padme Hum, or the names of enlightened beings, invoke energies of compassion and guidance, providing a steady anchor in the swirling currents of the Bardo. Visualization practices are also highly effective. By visualizing pure lands or enlightened beings, the consciousness creates a resonance with those states, increasing the likelihood of a favorable rebirth or liberation. These practices help the soul stay focused on higher truths rather than becoming entangled in illusions. The teachings of the Sidpa Bardo are not just for the moment of death. They are a call to live with intention, awareness, and integrity. Every thought, word, and action we take in life shapes the karmic patterns that will guide our journey through the Bardos. By recognizing the illusions of daily life, the attachments to possessions, status, and ego, we prepare ourselves for the illusions of the Sidpa Bardo. By cultivating mindfulness, compassion, and detachment, we create the conditions for liberation, both in this life and beyond. The Sidpa Bardo reminds us that life and death are not separate, but part of a continuous cycle. Each moment is an opportunity to awaken, to align with truth, and to choose liberation over illusion. The choices we make today ripple across lifetimes, shaping not only our path, but the collective journey of all beings. Navigating the Sidpa Bardo is both a challenge and an opportunity. It is a realm where the forces of karma, desire, and illusion are at their most potent. But it is also a realm where the potential for liberation is most profound. By recognizing the projections of the mind, letting go of attachments, and aligning with higher truths, the soul can transcend the cycle of samsara and awaken to its boundless nature. As you reflect on these teachings, consider this. How can you live today in a way that prepares you for the transitions to come? How can you plant seeds of compassion, clarity, and wisdom that will guide you through the Sidpa Bardo and beyond? The Tibetan Book of the Dead offers us a timeless reminder that the path to liberation begins not in the future, but in the choices we make right now. Let us walk that path with courage, love, and awareness, knowing that each step brings us closer to the infinite truth of who we are. Close your eyes and imagine a world filled with vibrant symbols, archetypes, and ancient wisdom. This is the world of the Tibetan Book of the Dead, a sacred text that doesn't just offer guidance for the afterlife, but serves as a mirror to the human experience. Its symbols are more than just vivid imagery. They are profound teachings designed to awaken the mind and illuminate the path to liberation. In this chapter, we'll journey deep into the symbolic language and timeless wisdom of the Bardo Thodol, uncovering the keys it offers to understanding life, death, and the nature of reality itself. One of the foundational teachings of the Tibetan Book of the Dead is the idea that all phenomena, everything we see, hear, and feel, are projections of the mind. This principle is reflected in the vivid imagery and archetypes described throughout the text. The peaceful and wrathful deities, the dazzling lights, the thunderous sounds. These are not external realities, but manifestations of the consciousness as it moves through the bardos. Consider this. In our waking lives, we often mistake our thoughts and emotions for reality. We become consumed by fears, desires, and attachments, forgetting that they are fleeting constructs of the mind. The Bardo Thodol reminds us that this same principle applies in the afterlife. By recognizing the illusory nature of these phenomena, we can transcend fear and confusion, opening the door to liberation. This teaching is not just for the moment of death. It is a call to awaken in this very life. The symbols in the text encourage us to question our perceptions, to look beyond the surface of things, and to see the deeper truth that lies beneath. They remind us that the source of both suffering and liberation lies within our own minds. The Tibetan Book of the Dead is rich with symbolic imagery, each element carrying layers of meaning. Let's explore some of the most significant symbols and their wisdom. First, the peaceful and wrathful deities. These figures, described in vivid detail, are not separate beings, but representations of our own mental and emotional states. The peaceful deities embody qualities like compassion, wisdom, and equanimity, reflecting the potential for enlightenment within us all. The wrathful deities, with their fierce and terrifying forms, symbolize the raw, unprocessed energies of the mind, our fears, attachments, and unacknowledged emotions. The lights and sounds of the bardos are another powerful symbol. The dazzling lights represent the clarity of pure awareness, while the sounds, sometimes harmonious, sometimes overwhelming, reflect the vibrations of the mind. Together, they serve as reminders of the mind's vast potential and the importance of cultivating clarity and presence. Even the descriptions of the physical elements in the text, such as rivers, bridges, and paths, carry profound meaning. These symbols represent the choices we face in the bardos and in life. Will we follow the path of fear and attachment, or will we choose the path of wisdom and liberation? At its core, the Tibetan Book of the Dead is a teaching on universal truths, truths that transcend culture, time, and individual experience. One of these truths is the principle of interconnection. The text reminds us that all beings are interconnected, their fates intertwined through the web of karma. This understanding fosters compassion, and a sense of responsibility for our actions. Another universal truth is the impermanence of all things. The Bardo Thodol teaches that nothing, not even the self, is permanent. This can be a challenging concept to accept, but it is also profoundly liberating. By embracing impermanence, we can let go of our clinging and attachments, finding peace in the flow of existence. Finally, the text emphasizes the non-dual nature of reality. The distinctions we make between self and other, good and bad, life and death. These are illusions created by the mind. The symbols in the text guide us toward the realization that all dualities dissolve in the ultimate truth of oneness. The wisdom of the Tibetan Book of the Dead is not just for the moment of death. It is deeply relevant to how we live. By reflecting on its symbols and teachings, we can cultivate a deeper awareness of ourselves and the world around us. Meditation on archetypes. Reflect on the peaceful and wrathful deities as aspects of your own mind. Identify the qualities you wish to cultivate and the fears or attachments you need to transform. Mindfulness of perception. Observe your thoughts and emotions as they arise, recognizing them as fleeting phenomena rather than ultimate truths. This practice can help you respond to life with greater clarity and compassion. Embracing impermanence. Remind yourself daily of the impermanent nature of all things. Use this awareness to appreciate the present moment and to let go of what no longer serves you. As we journey through the symbolic world of the Tibetan Book of the Dead, we are reminded that its teachings are not confined to the afterlife. They are a profound invitation to awaken in this very moment, to see through the illusions that cloud our vision, and to align with the deeper truths that guide our existence. The symbols in the text are like lanterns, illuminating the path toward liberation. They invite us to look within, to recognize the boundless potential of our own minds, and to step into the light of awareness. As you reflect on these teachings, consider this. What illusions are you ready to release? What truths are you ready to embrace? The wisdom of the Tibetan Book of the Dead is a reminder that the answers lie not outside of us, but within our own hearts and minds. May these teachings inspire you to live with greater clarity, compassion, and courage, and to walk the path of awakening with grace and determination. For in understanding the symbols of the bardos, we unlock the keys to understanding ourselves. Take a moment to pause and reflect on the pace of your daily life. The constant rush, the endless to-do lists, the ever-present hum of notifications. Modern life often feels like an unrelenting whirlwind. But amidst the chaos, the teachings of the Tibetan Book of the Dead offer a profound refuge. These ancient lessons are not relics of the past. They are a living wisdom that can transform the way we navigate our world today. In this chapter, we will explore how the Bardo Thodol can be seamlessly integrated into modern life, guiding us toward a deeper understanding of ourselves and the universe. In a time when many feel disconnected from themselves and each other, the Tibetan Book of the Dead provides a roadmap to reconnect with what truly matters. Its teachings on impermanence, interconnection, and mindfulness resonate deeply with the challenges of our era. Whether we are seeking peace in the face of uncertainty or clarity amidst the noise, these teachings remind us that the answers lie within. The concept of the bardos, or transitional states, is particularly relevant. While traditionally associated with the phases of life, death, and rebirth, bardos can also be seen as metaphors for the transitions we experience in daily life. A job change, the end of a relationship, or even the momentary shifts between thoughts and emotions. By recognizing these moments as opportunities for growth and awakening, we can approach life with greater presence and resilience. One of the most powerful teachings of the Tibetan Book of the Dead is its approach to fear. In the Bardos, fear arises from misunderstanding and resistance. The text urges us to face fear, not as an enemy, but as a teacher. This wisdom is profoundly applicable to modern challenges. Consider the fears we face today: fear of failure, fear of the unknown, fear of loss. The Bardo Thodol teaches us that these fears are often projections of our own minds, just like the visions encountered in the afterlife. By observing them with mindfulness and compassion, we can dissolve their power over us. This practice helps us make more conscious choices, whether it's in our careers, relationships, or personal growth. Mindfulness, a cornerstone of Tibetan teachings, is perhaps the most accessible way to integrate the wisdom of the Bardo Thodol into modern life. By cultivating presence, we learn to see the beauty and impermanence of each moment, freeing ourselves from the grip of distraction and stress. Simple practices can make a profound difference. Begin each day with a moment of stillness, setting an intention to approach life with awareness. Throughout the day, pause to notice your breath, anchoring yourself in the present moment. When faced with challenges, remind yourself of the impermanence of all things, allowing you to respond with grace rather than reactivity. These small shifts in perspective can ripple outward, transforming not only how we experience life, but also how we interact with others. The wisdom of the Tibetan Book of the Dead has not only influenced spiritual seekers, but also shaped modern psychology and philosophy. Thinkers like Carl Jung were profoundly inspired by its archetypes and symbolic language, seeing them as reflections of the human psyche. The text's emphasis on self-awareness, acceptance, and transformation aligns closely with contemporary therapeutic practices. For example, the idea of facing and integrating the shadow self, the parts of ourselves we tend to reject or fear, parallels the encounters with wrathful deities in the Bardos. By acknowledging and understanding these aspects, we move toward wholeness and healing. This approach can be applied in therapy, personal development, and everyday interactions, helping us navigate the complexities of the modern world with greater compassion and insight. The teachings of the Bardo Thodol are not confined to the moments of death. They are practices for spiritual evolution in life. By embracing these practices, we align ourselves with the deeper truths of existence and open the door to profound transformation. Meditation on impermanence. Reflect on the transient nature of all things, from your breath to your relationships. This practice fosters gratitude and helps you let go of unnecessary attachments. Compassion. Practices. Extend kindness to yourself and others, recognizing the shared journey we are all on. Acts of compassion create positive imprints on your consciousness and the world. Visualization techniques. Imagine yourself in the presence of enlightened beings or in a realm of pure light, cultivating a sense of peace and connection to higher truths. Rituals for transition. Mark significant changes in your life with rituals that honor both endings and beginnings. These can be as simple as lighting a candle or journaling your reflections. The Bardo Thodol has long been used to guide the dying, but its teachings are equally valuable for caregivers and loved ones. In hospice and palliative care settings, the text provides a framework for creating an environment of peace and support. By reading its passages aloud or reciting mantras, caregivers can help ease the transition for those nearing the end of life. For families, these practices offer solace and a sense of purpose during a deeply emotional time. They remind us that death is not an end, but a continuation, a sacred journey that connects us all. As we integrate the teachings of the Tibetan Book of the Dead into modern life, we find that its wisdom is not bound by time or culture. It speaks to the deepest parts of our being, offering guidance for both the extraordinary and the everyday. It invites us to live with presence, to face transitions with courage, and to embrace the truth of who we are, infinite, interconnected, and luminous. In the midst of the noise and demands of the modern world, let these teachings be a light to guide you. They remind us that even in the busiest moments, the eternal truths of the Bardo Thodol are within reach. They are here, waiting for us to pause, to listen, and to awaken to the boundless potential of life itself. As we come to the end of this journey through the wisdom of the Tibetan Book of the Dead, take a moment to reflect on the profound truths we've uncovered. These teachings are not just ancient words. They are a living guide for navigating the transitions of life, death, and everything in between. They remind us that within each of us lies the power to awaken, to transform fear into courage, and to transcend the illusions that bind us. Now, I invite you to take this wisdom and make it a part of your life. Start small. Begin by observing the moments of transition in your day, from waking to sleeping, from one task to the next, and see them as opportunities to practice presence and mindfulness. Reflect on the impermanence of all things and allow that understanding to bring more gratitude and compassion into your heart. If you've been inspired by these teachings, share them. Share them with a friend, a family member, or someone who might be searching for clarity and meaning. In a world that often feels chaotic and uncertain, the timeless wisdom of the Bardo Thodol can be a guiding light for many. And if you're ready to take the next step, consider exploring meditation, mindfulness, or other practices that help you connect with the truths we've discussed. Remember, this journey is not about perfection, but about intention, about choosing to live with greater awareness and authenticity. Lastly, I encourage you to reflect on the question: what legacy do you want to leave behind? The choices we make today ripple through eternity. Let's choose to live with purpose, to love deeply, and to walk this path with courage and grace. Thank you for being part of this journey. If you found value in this content, please like, share, and subscribe to stay connected. Together, we can continue exploring the teachings that illuminate our paths and deepen our understanding of life's greatest mysteries. Until next time, may you walk in peace. May your heart be filled with compassion, and may you awaken to the boundless light of your true self.